Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Karen Sliwinski. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Northeast Ohio. And today I'm going to be featuring a new stamp set. It is called Sweet as a Peach. I really love this. It just came out in our catalog on May 4th. And this is the card that we're going to be making today. And the technique that I'm going to be showing you is called Faux Suede. It's a really simple technique. It's been around for ages, but sometimes we forget to use these older techniques. And I'm going to turn the camera around and we're going to get started. Okay, yesterday I just got my first real order from the new catalog, and the Sweet as a Peach bundle was one of the things that I really wanted to get. I love it so much. It's got a lot of great sayings with it, and you can combine things. You can say, thanks for being as sweet as a peach. Hope your day is sweet as a peach. You know, have a peachy day that goes with happy birthday, etc. So that's really nice. It comes with a set of dies, and I can show you those dies. There's actually, I think, 17 dies, so it makes a bunch of these little flowers and leaves, and then of course it cuts out all the bigger items as well. And then the paper that is in this suite is You're a Peach, and this is really pretty paper. I love this. And then all the coordinating colors I have down here on the side. So we're going to be using some of the paper, and all the cards today I am making that show this technique of Faux Suede are going to be using this suite of products. A lot of times I mix things up, but today I'm going to stay all with the same bundle. And then the colors we're using today are Calypso Coral, Pear Pizzazz, and Old Olive. And then the supplies, this is a very basic card. You're going to need a piece of thick Whisper White. I'm actually using up my old Whisper White, but you'll use basic white. And then I have an envelope, because we're going to do that at the same time. And then you just need 3 little pieces of paper. This is 4 1/4 by 2 inches, and you can pick your favorite DSP. I'll turn that around. I have a piece of, this is Pear Pizzazz, and it was a scrap, and it is 1 5/8 wide, but you could do really any width. So I just used my scrap. And then we are going to flag the ends of this, and we're going to turn this into our sueded piece of paper. And it's about 5 inches long. And then I punched out a label from the Label Me Lovely punch. So I have that ready to go. So we're just going to go ahead and we're going to give our card a nice good crease. I'm going to set that aside. And now this is where we get started with making this into a sueded piece of paper. So you need your bone folder. This is the tool that's going to turn this into this lovely textured piece of material. So what you can see I'm doing, I am using my bone folder and my thumb, and I'm rubbing in all kinds of directions over this piece of paper. Now, this just takes a little bit of time. A smaller piece is probably a better one to start with until you get the hang of the technique. But what we're doing is breaking down the fibers between the layers of this paper. And eventually, this is going to separate into 2 pieces. If you're lucky when you're doing this, you can be able to use both pieces. Sometimes one is a little bit too thin and you can't use both pieces, but when I did the sample card, I did end up with 2 usable pieces. So you just keep doing this, and eventually you're going to see the layers starting to separate. You can see it here, they are just starting to. So I'm going to do this a little bit more. And my upline, Dina, she does this technique a lot. And it just gives such, I don't know, it's like having dimension without having dimension. So it's a great technique. You can do it on any piece of cardstock. Obviously, you couldn't do this with designer series paper, but any of our cardstocks, because we do have a wonderfully heavyweight cardstock in Stampin' Up. So you just keep rubbing this, and you rub it in both directions. If you can go sideways and vertically, it helps. So I'm going to take a peek here. So really you can start seeing these layers are separating. And then you pull it apart gently, and you can see now this one tore a little bit on this one layer, so I wouldn't be able to necessarily use that part of it. unless I cover it up. But I'm just going to keep gently pulling it apart. And there, look at that. That looks so cool. I just love it. And it actually feels soft like suede too. So I'm going to set this other part aside. Now we are ready to assemble our card. Like I said, this card is super simple to make. So we are going to take our designer series paper and we are just going to add some multi-purpose glue. Got a new one of these out just a few minutes ago. Oh, can't stick that one down first. Have to do this part first. Getting so far ahead of myself here. Forgot to flag the end. So we're just going to put a little cut here and meet in the middle. Okay. I got so excited about making the suede that I was getting out of order. So we're just going to add. Now, I do have to tell you that when you do this, your tape runner type adhesives don't work really well on this because they tend to just lift up the paper, you know, the little bit of fiber that is left. So I do like liquid glue for this. We're going to stick this down, and now we can stick this other piece. Make sure I have it in the right orientation. And then they are just going to overlap. All right, oh, that shifted, and give that. Okay. So there is our basic card front. Now we are going to be stamping our label. So I have my label here and I need to stamp off. So I figured, oh, why not just go ahead and stamp on my envelope and then stamp off on my label. So I am going to open up my Calypso Coral and I'm gonna ink up my peach and I'm just gonna stamp that right here on my envelope. And then I'm going to stamp this at the bottom of my label. So I'm getting both inks out of that. So that worked out perfectly. And then we need our stem. And for the stem, I'm going to use Pear Pizzazz. So again, I'm going to ink it up. I'm going to stamp it on my envelope. And then I'm going to stamp it right here on my label. All right. Now we need our saying. And so I'm going to take off my leaves. I'm going to close this one up. And I'm going to put on the saying. It is, have a peachy day. So I've got that on there. And I decided I was going to do that in Old Olive. It's just a little bit deeper of a shade than that Pear Pizzazz, and I think it will stand out a little bit nicer. So that's going to go right here. Perfect. Now all we have to do is pop this up. I'm going to set our envelope aside because that is all done. And we're just going to pop this up here. So I have almost finished the sheet of dimensionals. And I hope that you do know that you can use the edges of your dimensional sheet. So every last inch of this sheet of sticky dimensionals is usable. So I just cut them up into segments and I use them. And sometimes it's really nice to have some oddball shaped dimensionals. So peel off my backings. And then I'm gonna stick that right there. Adorable. And I just thought that this faux suede sort of was like peach fuzz. So it kind of goes with the theme of my card. So we might as well decorate the inside. So we have some branches and leaves. And this can be used with both the peaches and the flowers. So they both fit in that same space. So I thought that was a very nicely designed stamp. So again, we're going to go back to our Pear Pizzazz, and I'm just going to stick this right up here. Okay, and then let's go back to our Calypso Coral, and we have our peaches. And so I'm just going to show you, they're going to fit right here. Each peach has sort of a little notch where the top of it is, and that is going to line up with your stems. So on this one, your bigger peach is going up toward the top. So I don't know if you can see that so well. So now we'll ink it up. I had to play around with it the first time just to kind of figure out the orientation of these. But once you realize where they go, it is quite easy. I'm gonna just stick that down right there. Voila. And then I thought we would do happy birthday. And I'm just going to stick that right there. So I ink that again in the Calypso Coral. And we have a beautiful birthday card. But there's another little stamp, and I thought this would be a fun one to add. And it is called, or it says, "It's Your Day." So I'm going to stick that here, and I'm going to grab my envelope, and I thought it would be nice to add that right down here at the bottom along with our peach. So we'll get that inked up, and it's your day. Perfect. There you have it. So we have our Have a Peachy Day happy birthday card. I would just love to get a card like that. It's so happy. And then the envelope that goes with it. So I told you I made a couple other samples. So I'm going to show you the first one. This is using some more of our designer series paper. And this one I just cut a circle out, did the same thing with the bone folder, going it back and forth and back and forth, peeled it apart, and I have this fuzzy circle. Then I made a smaller one and I stamped my flowers. Now I did stamp these two flowers first. I just kind of inked them up, and then I stamped this one third, but I was able to ink that separately so that I could cluster them a little bit closer. And then I added a little bow, and then that's what I put on the inside. I used the Early Espresso ink. I stamped off the Calypso Coral and the Pear Pizzazz for my flowers. So you can see how you use that same stamp, this branch that we used here. You just turn it in the other direction to give your flowers. And then you stamp that. So that was my second card. And then my third card is using a couple of other die sets that came out in the new catalog. I really loved the Stitch Greenery. It's not a die like you're used to. It doesn't cut out anything. It just makes these stitched lines all over your background. I thought that was so lovely. And then I did a shape, and I did the rubbing it with my bone folder and peeled it apart. And then I have this fuzzy shape here on my suede rectangle, if you will. And then I stamped on, this is Pale Papaya. It's one of our new in colors. So I stamped the Calypso Coral onto a piece of Pale Papaya. And so it's not the same, it's a little bit deeper, I think, than if you were to stamp it on white. And then I just stamped out my leaves. And this one I did use my dies, use some of our new ribbon. This is also in the Pale Papaya. And there is the inside of that card. So those are my 3 cards. I hope that you have liked this. I encourage you to give this technique a try. And all the ingredients will be listed below in the description, in my YouTube description, and they will also be listed on my blog. It's ThePowerOfACard.blogspot.com. I encourage you to read my blog and give me a thumbs up on my videos and share them if you will. It really helps me to grow my business. And if you need any of the supplies, you can just click on the link and you can shop in my store. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.